Hi, this is Richard Chamberlain, and welcome back to the Protecting Your Family's Future podcast. This is episode number 66. Today, we're talking about why people use trusts. So we started this series last week. We're in a 5-week series on the reasons why people use trusts. Last week was privacy. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, I encourage you to go back and do that. Today, we're looking at the second reason why people use trusts, and that is because trusts have overall lower fees. Now, again, a lot of this has to do with probate versus non-probate. If you haven't heard our episode on why people avoid probate, go back and listen to episode number 4. In episode 7, we looked at how living trusts avoid probate. So you might want to listen to that one as well. But what does that mean in terms of lower fees? That's what we're going to talk about today. So if you have an estate and it goes through probate, there are several kinds of fees that are paid by that estate once the probate is completed. The first is the executor fees. Now, those fees in Ohio are set by state law. It's about 4% of the first $100,000 of assets that are in the probate estate, and then it goes down from there. The attorney fees are also set by court rules. Each county in Ohio has a different fee schedule for the attorney fees. An example is in Lucas County, the attorney fee is 4.5% of the first $100,000, 3.5% of the next $300,000, 2.5% of any probate assets above that first $400,000, and then 1.5% of any non-probate assets. Now, you can see that that is going to add up very quickly. So while a will might not cost very much to create, it's going to cost a lot on the back end for the probate with the executor fees and the attorney fees that are charged in the probate proceeding. If you have a trust, on the other hand, remember that a trust, when it properly owns the assets that would otherwise go through probate, when you have a trust, probate is avoided. So the fees that are charged are much, much less on the administration end of a trust, which leads to lower overall fees. So typically, the trustee would charge a fee of about 1 to 1.5% of the assets in the trust estate. And the attorney fee, using the probate court fee schedule, all of the assets that are in the trust that are avoiding probate, those are all non-probate assets. And so those are typically charged at 1.5% of the assets. So instead of the executor charging 4%, the trustee is charging maybe 1%. Instead of the attorney charging 4.5%, the attorney again is charging about 1.5%. So you can see that, while a trust is more expensive to set up on the front end, on the creation side of it, they're definitely much less expensive on the administration end, probate versus non-probate. And the overall cost of a trust is a lot less. So that's one of the reasons why people do trusts, is because overall they cost less, leaving more assets to their family, their beneficiaries, whoever they want to receive their property when they pass. So if you have questions about that and how that might apply to your state, if you live in Ohio or in Michigan, we can help you do that. We can talk to you. And our contact information is in the show notes. Feel free to reach out to us and we can set something up for you. I hope that's helpful for you today. Come back and listen next week. We'll talk about the next reason why people do trusts. So we'll see you next week. Thanks.